what's good? Face to the building, right? Gotham Knights preview. IGN's first. Just dropped. Let's have a look at this. See what's going on, because IGN have been dropping so much Gotham Knights stuff.
Nah, I'm just here to keep
Let's check this out. Not more Red Hood,
we got to
please.
see a lot of Gotham Knights being played, but
Okay.
we weren't able to go hands-on with the game ourselves, and that makes a traditional preview a little difficult. Without having had a controller in our hands, it's hard to
so
say
they
how
didn't actually get to
combat,
play it.
working through missions, or making gear choices feels. And with that in mind, this preview will be a little more structural. With the help of the game's developers, we'll walk you through how Gotham Knights is put together, revealing brand new information about the open world, how supervillains fold into the fabric of the wider game, the game
want to let no one play it yet.
Cycle,
They don't want no review yet. They don't want a review yet.
As we've spoken about previously this month, Gotham Knights' world is aiming to feel like a real city, with centuries of history behind it. Part and parcel with that is how truly open it is. The developers ensured that almost the entirety of their Gotham is open.
The map doesn't look too bad. The map doesn't look too bad.
Boroughs offering different traversal opportunities, different threats, different activities, and different characters. But the team also wanted to create the sense of a city reacting to the presence.
Do you need to see some more Robin, man?
In the streets.
I would say we
gotta see some more Robin. That Robin suit is cold.
A pretty
cold that suit is sick. And he just said cold.
The police don't like you. The citizens don't like you. And over time,
no one likes
the tone evolves because you identify major threats to the city. You can find out
that it should have been a more of a choices thing.
Surface in Gotham, and you gradually
not
build
just
the
over time. It should have just been a more of a choices thing. What you do,
and a group of citizens called the Watch act as an informant network for the Knights, offering up missions that will help stitch their parts of the city back together. All of which will see you head out into the darkness to help bring some light back to Gotham. As it turns out, Dark Knights in training like to come out during, well, Dark Nights. Key to Gotham Knights is that it's not a game with a shifting, continuous day-night cycle. Rather, the entire game is set over consecutive nights, with new crimes emerging every evening and villain storylines progressing.
So there's no daytime stuff.
Stop them.
There's
the
no
only time
daytime
you'll see
stuff.
daylight in the main game is inside the Knight's headquarters.
Oh, I don't know about that. Nah, you know what? I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. So what are you telling me? If there's a crime during the day, these lot are like, nope, it's not nighttime. It's not. We're not coming out. Do you know what I mean? Come on, guys. Come on.
To do after the next sunset.
The central loop of the game experience in Gotham Knights is what we call our Belfry loop. When you exit the Belfry, it's always nighttime. You don't have to worry about when the sun's going to come up. But in the course of that night, there are going to be some crimes and other activities that are happening.
So it could be night for
hours that are premeditated. They were predetermined by whoever was going to commit them, the day before. When you complete a night of crime fighting, and it's up to the player to decide when they're done. Yeah. But it could be a case of them saying, well, I think I've hit most of the major crimes I needed to, or it could be the case of them saying, I learned what I needed to learn, and now I need to go back to the Belfry to advance the story, for example.
Yeah, advance the story, upgrade.
Return to Belfry, and now it's daytime.
Crimes in Gotham Knights come in many forms. They can range from procedurally generated muggings right up to entire gangs running complex operations. And the more you foil, the more you'll learn about crimes to come.
We wanted this concept of information scarcity. So you need to find stuff out about the city night after night.
You already have a kind of activity queue that you can be tracking and deciding, okay, I think that's going to be more important for me to take on. Maybe this is more interesting to me because it maps better to one of the challenges that I'm trying to complete.
So that's how you change. Okay, you just walk up to the suit and it changes.
That next chapter in the larger mystery, right? So there's a lot of different reasons why a player might choose to go after one particular crime or another.
Unlike the game's checkpoint of story missions, if you fail a crime, there's no opportunity to replay that exact situation again. It's all part of the superhero learning process. Once you end a night, crimes are reset.
I'm seeing too much Red Hood.
Crimes that you didn't solve continued unabated, and now you're in a situation where you can look at what's
They're really
up
trying
to
do this
night,
detective
so
thing. It's not just an action game. They're trying to add more.
In advance. Oh, there's going to be a heist at the bank, or there's going to be an armored car robbery, or someone's going to try to break somebody out of prison. In addition to that, there's a bunch of things you don't know about, right? There's all of the other crimes that haven't been revealed, and you can
way
find out
too
about
much
them
Red Hood gameplay.
It's a system designed to keep offering new
not
ideas
the selling point, guys.
To how a real city might work.
I'm sorry,
but of course,
he's not the selling point.
Not all crimes are created equal. Sometimes in your nightly patrols, you'll stumble across information that points to a much bigger, more recognizable threat.
Did you miss me?
Okay. She must be a story battle.
Nothing of the game's main story campaign after its tutorial.
Oh!
The team clearly wants to keep its take on the beloved Court of Owls storyline.
Oh, they said nothing
itself.
to be shown.
The game's villain storylines aren't necessarily a part of that darker conspiracy. Like any good comic book world, multiple supervillains are running riot across Gotham simultaneously, each with their own agendas. In Gotham Knights, that means that supervillain arcs are optional side stories taking place over multiple nights and made part of the open world itself.
That is sick. Okay, so there's like, you go for a particular supervillain you want to go for. It's optional. Like, you can go for Harley, then go for the ice guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Not just story dungeons. As you learn more about the villains taking on specific missions along the way, your Belfry evidence board will begin to grow, connecting clues to evidence and eventually letting you trigger what the team calls a villain night.
You know, when we talk about villain nights, we sometimes refer to them as epic villain crime, and it's because we always wanted the villains to be menacing Gotham City. We didn't want it to be a case of, oh, I'm going to go into this sort of bubble dungeon universe and Gotham somewhere else, and I'm just engaging with them here. And sometimes that means we do some fundamentally, big changes, right? We like encase Elliott Center in ice. In the case of, one of the later missions in the Harley Quinn arc, Gotham City Hospital is
Harley Quinn arc,
invaded.
Okay,
and
that's a later mission.
Chaos.
While it's very possible that these optional arcs could illuminate the main storyline somehow, the impression we got is that these standalone villains are there to enrich the sense of Gotham as a true comic book city with multiple threats to stave off at one time. And that applies to the town's gangs as well. As we've talked about before, Gotham Knights factions aren't just goons for a supervillain, although they certainly can be. Instead, they populate the city themselves, causing various flavors of mayhem depending on their affiliation. So far, we've seen the Freaks and the Regulators, and some of our footage has made mention of Red Hood's hatred for the mob.
Hey look, more scumbag looking for a beat.
This feeling of criminal elements spreading across the city is intended to get across the
endlessness
of the
some more
superhero's job. You're not able to wipe out a faction from the map, you're simply stymieing their work.
You can clean Gotham.
You can't wipe him out
for a night, but you can never stop it. Even Batman wasn't capable of that, and neither are you.
Practically, that means there will always be
something going on.
Combat to be had, but factions also provide another service. Each one is tied to specific gear, crafting materials, and other unlocks, which you'll use to beef up your heroes. We've covered Gotham Knights' many superhero suits previously, but that was very much from the cosmetic angle. From a more gameplay-driven angle, players will be able to craft gear that alters their hero's armor, melee, and ranged items, offering stat boosts and elemental damage changes. Crafting that gear comes down to two things: having the blueprint and the materials to make it.
All of the gear is created through crafting.
So they're going to do, it's going to be a grind.
And it applies in slightly different ways to suits and melee weapons and ranged weapons, but what they kind of have in common is this focus on these elemental damage types. Cryogenic, freezing damage, thermal damage, electrical damage, poison, stun, these kinds of things.
Everyone's going to be doing a lot of build stuff. I'm going to be doing a few build videos myself.
Introducing another player into the world. From day one, the Gotham Knights team has made clear that its take on two-player co-op is completely untethered, meaning one player can theoretically explore another's world without ever having to meet them.
Anytime you're playing in Gotham City as opposed to inside
me and Grease could be playing, and Grease could be doing a whole different crime from me. But does the EXP share? Does it share?
And as part of one of the beats of the main mystery of the storyline, you're untethered. It also provides the most organic kind of superhero meetup opportunity where you think your buddy is with you and then he disappears for a while because he got distracted by something and you found a collectible. And then a second later you look up on a rooftop and a Batarang comes out of nowhere and here's Batgirl and she's here to help you stop a crime.
Of course, this could throw up issues of how progression works for players and how players at different parts of the story can interact. The solution is elegantly unfussy. Characters of different levels will scale so that they somewhat match, enemies will also scale to the player's levels, and most importantly, progression matters to the host and the guest.
When you're in Gotham, the host is their story. But 100% of your hero progression is your own. And then once you return to your own Gotham, time essentially restarts in your own story. If you completed a major story beat, a villain arc, dungeon against the Court of Owls while playing with a friend, when you get to that part in your own story, the game will ask you, do you want to play it again? Or do you want to just kind of say, you did this part in some other universe and we'll just fast forward you through it?
But despite watching hours of the game being played live, there was a lot we weren't allowed to see. The game's main story missions are still a mystery to us, even down to how they're unlocked or displayed on the map. More intriguingly, the team repeatedly made reference to an endgame for Gotham Knights, but steadfastly refused to talk about it. Given the game's action RPG structure, it wouldn't be hugely surprising to find that it included an MMO-style raid of some kind, or with a focus on the open world as an evolving space. If
that would be brilliant, an MMO-style raid.
Transformed by the effects of the Court of Owls.
That would be brilliant.
We just don't know right now. But the biggest outlier for us is in how the game feels to play for an extended period of time. Combat certainly looks interesting, perhaps a tad heavier than the Arkham series it will be compared to, and with a much bigger focus on using special abilities you've earned along the way.
A lot of people say it looks a bit heavy.
Whether by parkour, grappling hook, bike, fast travel paradrops, or the hero's unlockable abilities, feels like a genuinely fun first affair as well. But Gotham Knights will live and die on how these things string together, and how those smaller moments make its larger structure.
I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this though.
Crime fighting and clue gathering.
I just want to see more Robin and Batgirl, man.
There's no doubting the enthusiasm and belief at the studio.
Because Batgirl is getting picked first
by how it
from
feels once it's finally allowed to be in our hands. This marks the end of our month of IGN First content. But if you want to go all the way back to the start, we've got 16 minutes of the opening gameplay from the game. We've also got a big feature on how the team made a brand new version of Gotham.
Right, Gotham Knights, the preview. I'm impressed. I am impressed. I think it's kind of cool. I like the way that they've done the 2-player online. Quite cool. Like, obviously, the host is going to be progression through his story. And you can skip in your story if you are not the host. But if you don't, then it will continue. I do want to know something more about that. If I go to somebody else's world, I gain EXP there. I do a mission there that I haven't done in my world. Does that EXP, do I still gain that EXP, in my world? So say the Harley Quinn boss fight, right? We beat Harley Quinn as 2 players. I'm in another world, I'm not the host. I go back to my world and I get to the Harley Quinn boss fight and I choose to fight her. Do I still gain EXP? Is that doubling up? Or are they going to say, oh, you've done this already, because you've done this already, you can't have the XP? Hopefully you do. That is a big question I do really want to ask. Hopefully you do gain the double EXP, because that would be a good way to help each other build up their characters quicker. So that would be quite good. Yeah, man, Gotham Knights looks okay. Like everyone keeps saying, it does look really heavy. It's quite a heavy game. Hopefully it doesn't feel heavy and slow and sluggish. Hopefully it is fluid. The only problem I have is Red Hood looks a bit boring. A bit of boring gameplay. I'd like to see some more Robin and some more Batgirl, a bit more in-depth. But obviously I can tell they're not really going to show much. They're going to wait till maybe closer to release to show more. Anyway, put down in the comment section what you think about this. What do you think about this preview? Did you enjoy it? Did you want to see some more gameplay and not so much chatting? Because that's one thing I wanted to see. Some more gameplay and not so much talk. But anyway, we move. Is what it is. Put down in the comment section your thoughts. Let me know. If you're feeling this type of content, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, get a notification, and all that jazz. You get me? Big up everyone who's been watching the videos. I appreciate you. Big up the whole 133 subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. I'm going to keep you up to date on all things action RPG games. Anyway, my name is Face. That is Gotham Knights preview from IGN First Reaction, should we say. And I am signing out.